Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 7 articles for you in this episode. The URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. And I have audio going here, and we'll jump right into them. And there we go. There. First article here is off of sarahpalin.com, and it says, actor issues refugee challenge to liberal Oscar attendees. And get it to scroll up here a little bit. The hamster catches up to me. There we go. Well, thought we had it, and my. Come on, hamster. Okay, there we go. Robert Davey just clapped back at Hollywood in the best way for their stark condemnation of President Trump on refugee issues. And jumped again. I don't know why it's doing that today. This is, it says per BizPac Review, and the actor penned an open letter that was posted on Breitbart website yesterday. Scroll up here so that I can read the letter. Like I'm begging this computer to cooperate with me today. There we go. I think it's slowly but surely going to come up here where I can read it. It says, I propose that Meryl Streep, Chelsea Handler, Robert De Niro, Christopher Waltz lead an Oscar first. Let's do away with the rules, barriers, and Oscars and after parties, such as the swanky Vanity Fair party or the star-studded affair. I ask all migrants, all criminals, and all unvetted refugees to converge on Hollywood to come to the Oscars and all the after parties in or at the mansions or Vermont. After all, the community wanted to show all Islamic we have love in our hearts. And what better way to do that than by inviting them all along important night? Davey went on, says it's time the walls security gates come down. There are roughly 30 seats to the Oscars. We should have at least 2,500 seats reserved for illegal aliens, refugees, and migrants, or maybe even more. For those celebrities skipping the ceremony, at least 100 illegal aliens, refugees, or come to their home to watch the Oscars with them. The Vanity Fair people should also get the 150 criminals who have reported from Los Angeles and bring them to the show as honored guests. They're set to take place on the 26th of February. His letter comes following a string of political statements made by celebrities at award shows. Speech at the Golden Globes was widely circulated and directly addressed the president's temporary travel ban on refugees from 7 noted countries. Oh, that needs to be just as widely spread around as Meryl's rant was circulated. Next one. Get this to here. It's off of sarahpalin.com. GOP introduces one-sentence bill, which is absolutely perfect. We'll see what this is here. Just introduced a bill to Congress that will terminate the Environmental Protection Agency. This is amazing. It says, check it out per Weasel Zippers. Backed legislation to eliminate the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, is definitely one of the shortest bills Congress has dealt with in a while. The Environmental Protection Agency shall terminate on December the 31st of 2018, is all the bill says regarding EPA's elimination. The bill's preamble has more words than its legislative language. Matt Gaetz, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, it's Gaetz, introduced the bill in February. 3 Republican co-sponsors and has been referred to cities. Is it possible that eliminating the EPA is no longer a Republican pipe dream? Congress and White House, this dream could finally be a reality. The House Bill H.R. 1 here, if you want to pull it up to see it for yourself. Now, this is much like them eliminating the next one we have here is off of Liberty Writers News. Director of Secret Service resigns. Reason why is horrifying. Washington Compost, the director of Secret Service has resigned. His name is Joseph P. Clancy and was brought back from the private sector in 2014 by Barack Obama. Clancy was brought on after the agency by President Obama. He is getting old and wants out. There is some video in this if you want to pull that up to view that. It says Clancy was brought on by Obama to fix the security holes. Jason Chavez, Republican of Utah, says that Clancy is leaving. And he says a fresh set of eyes and new perspective is needed to restore the prestige and status expected of such an elite agency. The Daily Caller, here is the letter that was sent out to the Secret Service, and it says, Secret Service is achieved with great sacrifice by all of you and your families. To the Secret Service staff members, please accept my sincere and heartfelt thanks for your dedication to our mission. You have inspired me. My hope was that I could return your gift of inspiration with some measure of good for the Secret Service. Trump is... So there is that article. And the next one I have here is off of BizPac Review. Report, Intel community is withholding sensitive information from President Trump. The intelligence community is withholding sensitive information from President Trump over concerns he cannot be trusted with the information, the Wall Street Journal reports. Former officials told the WSJ they are concerned about Trump's ties with Russia and the level of support expressed for Vladimir Putin during the presidential campaign. The intelligence community is worried some of the information they would give Trump could be leaked or compromised. The decision to withhold certain information suggests a deep level of trust within the agencies toward Trump, and the leak underscores the developing narrative rift between Trump and the community. Trump has at times praised and bashed the intelligence community in recent months. He blamed them Wednesday for leaking the news about that led to his resignation. Officials told WSJ the information was not crucial information about national security threats and was in some cases regarding the sources and methods of the information. Agencies have withheld similar information from past presidents, the story notes, but not because they deemed those presidents untrustworthy. The White House told the WSJ they have seen nothing leading them to believe the report is account of what actually happened. Schindler reported the intelligence community was withholding information from Trump in the Observer on Sunday, writing extensively about what he called the spy revolt against the president. Happened in Washington before, he wrote, referring to the cloud of uncertainty regarding Trump's relationship to Russia. A White House with unsettling links to Moscow wasn't something anybody in the Pentagon community even considered a possibility until a few months ago. It clarifies its strange relationship with the Kremlin and starts working on its policy. The IC will approach the administration with caution and concern. The article that I have is off of the Pundit Daily. Stephen Mnuchin, Trump's Treasury nominee, targeted by Soros-funded groups. Far-left groups funded by George Soros and his son are waging campaigns to defeat President Donald J. Trump's pick for the Treasury Secretary. As part of the effort, at least one television ad campaign painting Mr. Mnuchin as a predator under aims 5 Republicans, including Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa and Senator Dean Heller of Nevada, to vote no on Mr. Mnuchin. The foreclosure king made millions by taking people's homes with no regard to anything but his own bottom line, said co-founder of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, or PCCC. Groups running the ad. Former partner of Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated was involved with the team that brought California mortgage lender IndyMac from the government in 2009 following the financial crisis. It was renamed One West after he became chairman of the company, which was ultimately sold to the nation's largest small business lender in 2015 for more than twice what the group paid for it. Now, the same deal that won him accolades from the business community and the Wall Street Journal is the main subject matter used by the PCCC and others in his nomination, by a collection of 14 nonprofit groups that received a combined $5.95 million from One West. $1 billion deal may not have even gone through without their supportive letters. PCC was founded in 2009 by Adam Green, a former MoveOn.org online organizer, and Stephanie Taylor, former MoveOn.org and SEIU. PCCC, like MoveOn.org, collectively known as Move On, is also a front for wealthy radical leftists like Soros, the billionaire financier who is often known as the man who broke the Bank of England. Donated $1.46 million to help initiate MoveOn.org. Linda Pritzker, a member of the Hyatt Hotel family, donated $4 million to the group as well. Soros, the elder, met with Democratic Party leadership in Washington, D.C. during a conference a week after November 8th presidential election to discuss the left's strategy to sabotage President-elect Trump during his first 100 days. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat of Massachusetts, PCC's favorite senator, was in attendance and is now playing a pivotal role in the strategy devised and agreed upon at the 3-day conference in November. On Wednesday, Senator Warren held a group of 10 Democratic senators at a forum to hear testimony from some of the people who lost their homes after Mr. Mnuchin's bank foreclosed. Mnuchin vehemently denied big media reports claiming he ran a foreclosure machine, which of course are planted and pushed at the behest of Senator Warren and groups like Move On and PCCC. On the contrary, I was committed to loan modifications intended to stop foreclosures, he told the Senate Finance Committee. I ran a loan modification machine. Wherever we could do loan modifications, we did them. One of PCCC's top donors is Jonathan Soros, the founder and chief executive officer of JS Capital Management, LLC, of the Nazi sympathizer himself. Soros, the younger, supports the elimination of the Electoral College, which he says is undemocratic and unconstitutional, despite it being in the U.S. Constitution. from the loopholes Mr. Mnuchin pledged to work with members of Congress to close during the hearing Thursday. According to second quarter 2015 filings, the U.S. assets in his hedge fund portfolio were valued at $500 million, up from $394.76 million the previous quarter. That year, Bloomberg Politics called him one of the hedge fund titans. But a detail that has been left out of the story told by the big media is that Mr. Mnuchin ran the investment fund set up by Soros before he and two other colleagues from Goldman Sachs moved on venture in 2004, Dune Capital Management. While Soros was left to make other arrangements, Mr. Mnuchin led Dune into financing Hollywood movies, including a number of blockbuster hits, including Avatar. During his hearing, he told the Senate Finance Committee that his bank extended over 100,000 loan modifications to borrowers who were behind on their mortgage payments before he took over IndyMac, which had already become the second biggest bank failure of the financial crisis. It had one of the worst portfolios stuffed with bad mortgage loans in the history of time. All of the homes could be saved through these programs, and despite my best efforts, some were sadly subject to foreclosure. The guidelines Mr. Mnuchin used at One West to offer loan modifications were put in place by numerous government programs with limitations. Mnuchin served as national finance chairman for the Trump campaign, a decision after the president-elect won the New York Republican primary and one his Wall Street buddies questioned ferociously. Banks and finance sector titans almost unanimously backed Hillary Clinton for president, including Soros, his son, and both PCCC and Move On. Now, the next article is also about Mnuchin, and we'll get it up here. Well, there we go. 5 things to know about Treasury pick Stephen Mnuchin. Scroll up. Hamster's moving slow. Video in this, if you want to pull it up to view that. It says this article first appeared on the Daily Signal. Though not widely known quantity in Washington, Stephen Mnuchin, President-elect Donald Trump's choice for Treasury Secretary, has had a seasoned career in high finance in Hollywood and most recently as finance chairman on Trump's campaign. I am honored to have the opportunity to serve our great country in this important role, Mnuchin, age 54, said in a formal statement. I understand what needs to be done to fix the economy. I look forward to helping President-elect Trump implement a bold economic agenda that creates good-paying jobs and defends the American worker. It reportedly has a net worth of $40 million. If confirmed by the Senate, Mnuchin, a former Goldman Sachs partner who has donated heavily to Democrats in the past and once worked with liberal financier George Soros, will play a significant role in much of Trump's agenda regarding tax policy, trade deals, and infrastructure ambitions, among other policies. Steve Mnuchin is world-class financier, banker, and businessman, and has played a key role in developing our plan to build a dynamic, booming economy that will create millions of jobs, Trump said in a statement. His expertise and pro-growth ideas make him an ideal candidate to serve as Secretary of the Treasury. Here are 5 major things to know about Mnuchin. Number 1, second generation at Goldman Sachs. His father, Robert Mnuchin, was a top trader at Goldman Sachs, an investment banking, securities, and investment management firm. The elder Mnuchin later became an art dealer. Like his father, Stephen Mnuchin joined a powerful financial firm at the age of 22 and stayed for 17 years. He left the firm in 2002. At Goldman, oversaw trading in government securities, mortgages, money markets, and municipal bonds. He rose to be the chief information officer. Goldman Sachs is widely known for its political influence in both parties. If confirmed, Mnuchin would be the third Secretary of the Treasury Department to have worked President Bill Clinton, Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin, and President George W. Bush's Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson were both former Goldman Sachs executives. During the presidential campaign, Trump occasionally threw verbal jabs at his opponents for connections to Goldman Sachs. Texas Senator Ted Cruz during the Republican primary, and later at former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton during the general election. Number 2, George Soros connection. After departing Goldman, Mnuchin went to work for SFM Capital Management, a firm backed by billionaire George Soros, known for bankrolling liberal causes and candidates. Mnuchin later worked directly for Soros Fund Management. During the 2016 campaign season, Soros donated heavily to Priorities USA Action and pro-Hillary Clinton Super PAC. The news reports how close Mnuchin and Soros were, if at all. In 2004, Mnuchin departed to start his own hedge fund, Dune Capital Management. Bloomberg News reported that Dune got hundreds of millions of dollars from Soros in at least 2 Trump projects, one in Waikiki, Hawaii, and another in Chicago, according to Bloomberg News. Number 3, Democratic donor. Mnuchin contributed thousands of dollars to the presidential campaigns of both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama in 2008 election cycle, to John Kerry's presidential campaign in 2004, and to Al Gore's 2000 presidential campaign, as well as to numerous congressional Democrats, according to Center for Responsive Politics, which tracks political donations. He also gave to several Republican candidates, including Mitt Romney's presidential campaign in 2012, but prior to 2012, donations to Democratic far outweighed those to Republicans. Mnuchin told Bloomberg News that Democratic donations were mostly favors to friends who were Democratic fundraisers. He contributed $1,000 to Clinton's U.S. Senate campaign in New York in 2000. He also donated $1,000 to the presidential campaigns of Democrats Gore and who were competing against one another in the party's primary that year. That same year, he also contributed $1,000 to Republican Steve Forbes' presidential campaign. Mnuchin contributed $2,000 to Obama's U.S. Senate campaign in Illinois in 2004, when he also gave $500 to Kerry presidential campaign. In 2004, he contributed $10,000 to Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. In 2007, leading up to 2008 Democratic presidential primary, Mnuchin contributed $2,300 to Obama's campaign and another $2,300 to Clinton's campaign. Maximum $2,300 to Romney's campaign in 2008 Republican presidential primary. During the 2012 cycle, Mnuchin mostly contributed to Republicans. He donated $2,500 to Romney's primary campaign and another $2,500 to general election campaign. He donated $12,500 to the Republican National Committee in 2012, according to the Center for Responsive Politics. Cycle, though, Mnuchin gave $2,000 to the U.S. Senate campaign of Democratic Kamala Harris in California. He also gave $100,000 to Republican National Committee. He gave $2,700 to Trump's presidential campaign. Number 4, Blockbuster Films. Mnuchin teamed with filmmaker Brett Ratner, a businessman James Packer, to form Rat Pack Dune Entertainment. He first founded Dune Entertainment, which merged with Ratner and Packer's Rat Pack Entertainment. The company produced such as Avatar, which grossed $2.8 billion worldwide, American Sniper, Mad Max, Fury Road, and X-Men series movies. Number 5, One West Bank controversy. Trump praised what might end up being target for the Democrats during Mnuchin's confirmation process. IndyMac Bank for $1.6 billion and ran it very professionally, selling it for $3.4 billion plus a return of capital. In his statement, "That's the kind of people I want in my administration representing our country." Mnuchin with partners Mac Bank in 2009 and renamed it One West Bank. He served as its CEO. The bank had some clashes with California's housing advocates. Mnuchin and other investors sold One West to CIT Group in 2015. IndyMac Bank had been taken over by the FDIC over allegedly sketchy mortgage practices during the housing crisis, according to the National Public Radio. Kevin Stein, Deputy Director of Housing Advocacy Group, California Reinvestment Coalition, told NPR that under Mnuchin, One West continued to be foreclosure machine. As Trump said, investors bought the bank cheap and sold at a profit. But Stein said the bank foreclosed on 36,000 homes under Mnuchin. One West, $1 billion, which Stein went on, or try this again, which Stein said went to billionaire investors to cover the cost of foreclosing on the working class, everyday American folks. Stein could likely be picked up by the Senate Democrats during the confirmation process. So there you have that article. And the final article I have for you, I cannot make this stuff up. This is off of American Military News. And I got the biggest chuckle out of this. Pet squirrel attacks home intruder breaking into gun safe. That coming. It says some burglars might second guess robbing a home if there's a dog on the property, but the last thing that most burglars expect to be attacked by is a pet squirrel. And broke into a Meridian, Idaho home. The homeowner's pet squirrel attacked the home invader as he tried to pry open the gun safe. As if you want to pull it up and watch it. It says Adam Pearl, the homeowner, returned home and knew something wasn't quite right. He saw footprints in the snow that led to his house and then around the back. He entered his house and immediately knew something had happened since his belongings were out of sorts. Someone had tampered with his gun safe. Items in Pearl's house, but the intruder was barred from getting into the guns. Pearl called the police to make a report, and the officer who came to the home was introduced to Squirrel Joey. During her investigations, Joey had run in the bedroom, just screwing around like he always does between her legs, and kind of startled her. She says, "Whoa, what was that?" And I said, don't worry about that. That's just my pet squirrel, Joey. when the report was concluded, the female officer left, but a couple hours later she returned. The officer came back to divulge some new details she had found out about the case that she found quite fascinating. The officer said that while she was questioning the suspect about the burglar at Pearl's home, she asked him about all the scratches on his hands, knowing about Joey. She asked if the scratches had happened to come from the squirrel. Yeah, the suspect replied. Damn thing kept attacking me and wouldn't stop until I left. Can't make this stuff up. Oh my. And there's some more video at the bottom of this if you want to pull that up to do that for yourself. So I thought that was a hoot and figured that my viewers would get a charge out of that as well. I've got more episodes to follow. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up, share it on your social media so everybody gets entertained. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. That way you'll stay informed. See you in the next